on Home and Family. Candy Burris from The Real Housewives of Atlanta joins us, and actress Alicia Reiner visits our home.
Welcome back, everybody. We're back with Dr. Bert Mandelbaum, and we're discussing concussions and new treatments for concussions in young adults and hopefully in adults. So we were speaking before the break regarding what the new approach to treating them is, and you said it's all about exercise. But just to be clear, and so everyone knows at home, you don't mean just you have a concussion and get up and start exercising again.
No, I think the first thing we have to do is make a distinction between a usual head injury and concussion. And those signs and symptoms we talked about are key to differentiate.
Sure.
Now, in that first 24 hours, rest. Take your time, seek a medical professional, get an opinion, and develop a treatment course.
Okay.
Then as you begin to start feeling a little bit better, sequentially, begin to start doing light aerobic exercise, 70 to 80% of your heart rate, and then begin to start doing some sports-specific exercise. Okay. And then begin to do more non-contact practice, contact practice, all the way up to return to play progression. So it's sequential and it's guided by a medical professional.
You know, we always go out and think about, I'm going to go work out, I'm going to get my heart good and strong, and that's what I focus on. But you say that exercise actually does something for the brain.
It makes our brains bigger, stronger, faster. There's a tremendous amount of research in the last 25 years that show we turn on these genes, and believe it or not, different parts of the brain get bigger, and they get more functional. Bigger, stronger, faster at thought patterns. And we get better memory, we get better intellect, and that's one of the things
You have a personal story about that, right?
I do.
Tell us.
I do. I was a medical student in St. Louis, and I was training for a marathon, and the patients would watch me run into the hospital, and one of them on the psychiatric ward says, "Hey, doc, why do you do that?" I said, "Do it because the endorphins, I feel good. It's a great part of my life." He said, "Can I do it with you?" So I'd ask permission. So the next day he comes down with his cigarettes rolled up in his sleeves, and off we go in the park running. And he goes back and he's bragging about how good he feels. Well, the next day I had two of his buddies. So I'd be running with three others. By the end of the week, I had six.
Oh, this
so
is great.
it was also, I wasn't a doctor yet, but I was also the medical student running with all the patients through the park, and they would regale about how good they felt. At that time, we didn't have all this information now. So it's amazing that exercise makes us better.
Instinctually.
Instinctually. We are preloaded to be exercise survival of the fittest.
Yeah, isn't that true? They call it survival of the fittest.
Matt, let me ask you a question. When you played football, Washington, big guy, took a lot of hits. You said you had a concussion, you experienced a concussion. What was that experience like? Do you think you could have gotten up in a 24-hour period of time and go back and start exercising?
No, I felt really bad. We were playing the University of Miami, and I was on the kickoff return team. So I was the guy like set the wedge, and I would run full speed, and the kickoff team's running full speed. And I hit this dude from Miami, and I saw the white flash, and I felt bad, played the whole game. Afterwards, in the shower, and I'm looking at my buddy, talking to him, and I just...
Oh, boy.
And 340 pounds. So next day, felt out of it, felt hazy, and they told me, which is what I was going to ask you, they told me to take, I was out for a week and a half and didn't do anything. Right. And I felt bad. Yeah. So I was wondering...
Bad how? Like physically headaches, vision?
Physical headaches, nauseous, vision, lethargic, worse. Like I just felt bad.
Well, those are all the key symptoms. And again, the energy of the injury, that may be at the highest level. So it may take a little bit longer before we start that treatment path. So that's why it's important to have a medical professional help us make that judgment. But that said, it may be good to just take a few walks at day 2, day 3, and then ride on a little bicycle and begin to maybe get into the pool to feel that. So it's very personal, it's very stepwise, and graded in the progression, of course.
So is it the blood pressure rising? Like what is it about the exercise that rapens the process?
Well, what happens is a couple of things. The brain has all this genetic control. You turn these genes on, you make these endorphins that make you feel better. You have a better well-being. It's an opiate, basically. They're stimulants that come out. And all of a sudden you start feeling better. You're drugging yourself with your own neurotransmitters, is what we say. Wow. That's what it does. It improves the control, the autoregulation of blood flow, and then makes us feel better. And then we're able to control our heart rate, our brain, we feel better, and off we go.
So from this point forward, we are doing the entire show, everybody on treadmills.
That's right.
We're going to
This
feel
is
better
great
about
news.
ourselves. More information by visiting Dr. Mandelbaum on his website. Information is on the bottom of your screen.
And coming up, Mark and I are going to make Oreo snowman cookie balls in the kitchen. And never
On the
gonna run.
treadmill.
Never
Yeah.
gonna run.